Folks, I'm kind of liking it here. I might stay on House of Horns and kick Gilbert's butt to the curve, but obviously next we have a friend of the show, really good friend of the show. We love him. You love him. Everybody loves him. You know him from the AFC West. You know him from the NFC West. He is Fox Sports reporter Eric Williams, and he said, hit my intro.
Step up, bring it.
Eric, how are you doing, Eric?
I'm doing great. I got a new ringtone.
You know, it's funny. I showed Joe Reedy the clip, and he's like, that is glorious. He's like, Eric does deserve walk-up music like that. I'm telling you, I got to hook him up whenever he's on the show.
I would take my shirt off, but nobody wants to see that.
I love it. Vic, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, a big reason that I asked Fernando, since Gilbert decided that he was going to take some time off, deservedly so, I said, hey, can you get Eric on? Because I kind of want to talk NFC West. And so just in terms of what you've seen so far through, 13 weeks now as we head into week 14, where do you assess where the NFC West is at, and how do you see it going the rest of the way?
Yeah, Vic, it's been unpredictable. I mean, I definitely didn't see Seattle leading the division at where we're at now at 7-5 and just winning the way that they're winning. You know, obviously I thought the defense would be better, but, you know, to win a game like that against the Jets when you turn the ball over like that is weird, but also impressive that they're able to get that kind of victory and kind of continue to keep things going. I think they've won 3 straight now. So now they go down to Arizona, play Arizona for the second time in 3 weeks. Arizona's struggling right now, coming out of the bye. I thought they'd be playing better. They're actually playing worse. You know, they pretty much gave away a game on the road against the Vikings. They're 6-6. To be honest, the team that I like, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on House of Horns, I like the Rams to win the division. You know, I think they had the best head coach. I think they had the most experienced quarterback. They're kind of getting healthy at the right time. You're seeing their O-line getting healthier, which is important. And they went through this last year. They won 7 of their last 8. They got hot at the right time. So I think McVay knows how to handle this time of year. I feel like their young defense is starting to kind of gel and play better as a group. And I feel like Chris Shula is starting to figure things out as a new defensive coordinator. So I think a lot of things are coming together for the Rams. That's certainly not the case for the 49ers. I think they're done. Too many injuries, just too much stuff to overcome when you look at some of the off-field situations that Trent Williams is dealing with his family, and Javarius Ward dealing with his family. Just have so much stuff. Sometimes you just have that kind of year where everything is just kind of, gone wrong, and you can't get everything back on track. And I feel like that's kind of where the Niners are at. Even though they're talented, it's just hard to see them putting things back together in order to make a run.
Vic, don't believe him with all that. He has a bet with Daniel, and that is why the Rams are going to be the ones that win this division because he knows Daniel's 1-0 against them so far.
Yeah, I already lost a bet because of Russell Wilson, so I'm not happy about that. And so, yes, I also need the Rams to come through. So, yes, that's why I'm going with the Rams.
Now, is it just to make the playoffs, or do they need to win the division? Was the bet?
Well, I think the only way they can make the playoffs is win the division if you're talking about the NFC West. So, but
going to that, speaking about the Cardinals, they were going in hot into the bye week. Do you feel like the bye week kind of maybe cooled them down? And why do you feel like they've made some of the mistakes that they've made? Because coming out, I mean, they lost to they only scored 6 points against the Seahawks, and then they kind of turned it on against the Cardinals, but they had or against the Vikings, but they had some mistakes. Gilbert and I were kind of talking about it, and we feel like Gannon kind of told Kyler Murray, "Hey, let's pull back the reins a little bit." But why do you feel like they've struggled coming out of the bye week?
I feel like teams are making them play left-handed, and I mean that by Bill Belichick. Take away what teams do well and make them do what they do not do well. And for the Cardinals, that's James Conner running the football. So I think teams are pressing them at the line of scrimmage. They're saying, James Conner's not going to beat us. Kyler Murray, you beat us by throwing the football on the perimeter, and see if Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson can beat us through the air. So I think that's kind of what you're seeing. They're taking away Connor. They're forcing Kyler to play from the pocket and beat them that way. And that's tough for Kyler to do. That's not his skill set. So they have to get back to having balance and being able to run the football effectively, so there's less pressure on Kyler to make all those plays and carry the offense. And then I think defensively, again, they lost a lot of talent at the beginning of the year in terms of their defensive line with guys getting injured. Justin Jones, who used to play for the Chargers, is out for the year. Bilal Powell, another guy they signed in free agency, is out for the year with an injury. They lost B.J. Ojulari, their best edge rusher, to an injury for the year early in the year. They just got back Darius Robinson, their other first-round pick, and he's a beast, but he hasn't played all year. So I just think talent-wise, when you look at the defensive side of their roster, give them credit for being able to hang in there as much as they've had, but I think they're starting to get exposed a little bit.
Yeah, and that usually happens with the Cardinals. We've seen even when they had Cliff Kingsbury, it seems like they took a dip in the second half.
Yep.
But kind of shifting back to the Rams, I wanted to ask you. You were on with Gilbert and I before the season, and you wrote a great article about Chris Shula, and everything you've told us has pretty much come true in terms of what the expectation was for Chris Shula. He's been more aggressive than what we saw from Raheem Morris. Just what's been your assessment of him, and in terms of everything that you told us, and what's made him successful? Because that front four, everything that you told us about, that they were going to generate pressure, it's come true. So has it been everything that you expected from Chris Shula?
Well, it certainly didn't look good early when we watched them play the Cardinals, and I was at that game and I just went, wow, like they really struggled defensively. But I think as those rookies got more reps, and there's 5 rookies, I believe, either starting or playing meaningful minutes defensively, you've just seen them get more comfortable and start to emerge and play with a lot more confidence. Obviously, Jared Verse is the leader of that group with the way he's been playing, but Braden Fisk is playing well. And so you're able to have those two guys, kind of working in concert with each other. Young has done a nice job coming off the edge. Kobe's doing his thing. Omar Speights has emerged as a guy in the middle that could kind of, make plays defensively. Still don't feel like they should have got rid of Ernest Jones, but I understand why they did what they did. And then the 2 guys in the secondary, you talk about Kitchens and I believe it's McCullough, the undrafted rookie, Jaden McCullough, that they're playmaking guys in the middle of that defense that have taken the ball away, which I think is important. And so you're getting pretty good play at all 3 levels, and you're getting consistent play. And then I think what Shula has done is found those guys that have talent and then put them in positions to make plays. And that's all you can ask your defensive coordinator to do, is really just kind of, develop that talent. And then how do we put them in position so they can help us and play to their full potential. Connor Lake's another guy. I think he's got he's leading the team, right? 90 some tackles. Is that correct?
Yeah, and he's the green dot. I mean, he's the one that has been calling the defense for them. And so as a safety, or I guess the star player or star position, to be able to do that, it's been really impressive for Quinn Lake. So that's pretty good to see that. And then I wanted to ask you, just the next 10 days, how big is that, in terms of, you have that bet with Dan and Dago. How big are the next 10 days for this team? Because you're going up against a Bills team who's coming in hot, 7 straight, you have Terminator as their quarterback back there. And, one of the things we talked about was you need to win one of those games between the Eagles and the Bills at home. And then you get the short week against San Francisco, and as you mentioned, they're not doing well. So, how big is it for them to win this division the next 10 days?
I think it's huge, and thanks for correcting me, Quentin Lake, not Connor Lake, his dad, of course.
His dad, yes.
If they can get 2 out of the next 3, and go into those last 2 games with Arizona and Seattle, I believe, at home.
Yes.
I think
they finish up with those two teams.
So I understand what you're saying. These next 3, if they could somehow find a way to win 2 of them, that gets them to 8-7, right? Going into those last 2 games, then I think you have to like their chances. I feel like first team to 10 wins the division. I think that's kind of how I'm looking at it. If you get the double digits, I think you avoid the tiebreakers. I think 9 and 8, you have to start worrying about tiebreakers and how you did against not only other teams in your division, but other teams in the conference. You start going to those second and third, terms in terms of breaking a tiebreaker. So to get the next 2 out of 3 is important. The Bills are playing really good right now, but I still like the Rams' chances to make it close. The reason I say that is, the Bills are going to play 5 defensive backs. They're the number 1 team in the league in terms of 5 defensive backs. They play it over 95% of the time. Along with that, they play light boxes, according to Next Gen stats, I think 55% of the time, which is top 5 in the league. So you're going to be able to run the football. And you saw that San Francisco could run the football against those guys, but they just kept making so many mistakes to stall drives. So I hope Sean McVay will stay with running the football at times. He gets away.
Especially in the red zone, Eric.
I love your
in the red zone.
But this should be a Kyren Williams game, right? Kyren Williams should run up and down the field against this defense. And if they can get that balance and you don't have Stafford, with people in his face, and you can work off of that, I think they should be able to score against Buffalo. So I like a high-scoring game with them have a chance to win it.
Von Miller, 2 sacks. I'm calling it right now on his former team. Eric, what do you make of Matthew Stafford's season? 66% completion, 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 picks. Just does it doesn't look as clean cut as it has been in the past. It kind of looks like it's a roller. Well, even last year was a little bit of a roller coaster, and even the year after the Super Bowl was kind of a roller coaster. But is that just what you get from Matthew Stafford? It's kind of a roller coaster all season long, or what have you made of his season so far?
Yeah, I think so, but I think it also has to do with who was available. I mean, Cooper was hurt, Puka was hurt, 3/5 of the O-line was out, and so they didn't really have a lot of continuity because so many guys were in and out of the lineup. But I believe over the 5 of the last 6 games, he's thrown for at least 2 touchdowns. So he's heating up when you want him to heat up. And then, I'll take Stafford when he's playing well over most quarterbacks in the league. Because, for the most part, he's going to make the right decision. He is going to have the occasional, turnover because he's going to take risk. Oops. And I think, McVay's willing to live with that. So I think amongst the 4 quarterbacks that are left in the division, I think you probably would go with Stafford in terms of how he's playing right now. And he's got a Super Bowl ring. So he's done it. So I think that not only gives Stafford a lot of confidence, it gives the rest of the guys around him that are playing with him.
How much do you think Cooper has left in the tank?
Man, like Cooper's my dude. So, Washington native.
Washington guy.
I played against his father growing up. So,
oh, wow.
Got to see his father throw footballs all over the place. When I was at the University of Puget Sound, he was at Pacific Lutheran University. So obviously the lineage is there when you look at both his father and grandfather, played in the league. But the injuries are concerning. I mean, you have to acknowledge that. He's dealt with a lot of stuff over the last couple of years, and he doesn't look like he has as much juice as he had, obviously a couple of years ago during that MVP season. That said, smart player. He's going to be in the right place, right spot. It's going to play hard. And I think he's also willing to do the dirty work, knowing that Puka is kind of the guy right now, and willing to kind of play, more of a wingman role than the number 1 role, similar to what Robert Woods did when Cooper was the guy. I think, Cooper has kind of assumed that Robert Woods role as the number 2 receiver. He's going to block. He's going to run the decoy routes if that's what he has to do. But he's also a guy that you can go to and he can win one-on-one, especially near the red zone. I think we've seen that a couple times. So still a good player, just not the MVP caliber player that he was of a couple years ago.
Real quick, Vic. I love the way he blocks. He's such a good blocking receiver. Like he comes up and he does the dirty work, and that's what I feel like. I mean, guys like him, Keenan Allen, some of these guys, like they're going to do their dirty work, and that's why I feel like they're opening up run lanes as well because they bring in Cooper into motion, and then he comes out and he blocks. So I'm that's one thing that I've always given Cooper. He's a really good blocker.
Complete player.
Remember what Coach McGuigan said? If your ass don't block, your ass is out of here or something. Like I remember McGuigan used to say that with the Chargers. If your ass don't block, your ass is out of here.
If I use some other 4-letter words too, no.
That's why I went with a cleaner. I went with the 3-letter word instead of the 4-letter. So, but yeah, no, it was something. I think that's how they opened up one of the episodes of Hard Knocks. Just him like laying into the receivers, doing that when the Chargers and Rams did that joint Hard Knocks.
Oh, that's right.
I remember that.
The COVID
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. This will be my last question to you, Eric. And I was gonna ask you about Josh Carty and in terms of I think it's been the only thing, but actually I kind of want to flip it. And one thing that we've been talking about on House of Horns has been the free agents and how bad they've kind of not hit on. Between Jonah Jackson, who's been hurt and then came back and then was benched. Just in terms of free agency, how much should I guess Ram fans put into it, or should Ram fans be more happy with the fact that their draft picks are actually hitting?
Yeah, I would look at it just like you said. You want the free agents to hit because you're giving them the money, and usually that's something that the Rams do a pretty good job of in terms of their scouting of other teams and figuring out if guys are going to be good fits for the organization and how they want to play them. That said, whenever you're dealing with guys that have some years on them and you're bringing them in, it's always kind of a crapshoot. And I think the fact that what I like about the Rams is this: they're not just going to play a guy because they're paying them a lot of money. They're going to play the guys that are the best and put them on the field. So I respect the fact that they said to Tre'Davious White, hey, this isn't working. We're going to go in a different direction. Jonah Jackson, that's a lot of money, man. That's just sitting. Yeah. But hey, I mean, they're trying to win games, and you have to respect that. Sean McVay is about winning, and you love that, having a head coach that's like his mindset. And so, again, I respect that. I covered the Seattle Seahawks for 6 seasons when Pete Carroll was there, and they cut a 4th-round pick. You don't see 4th-round picks getting cut, but they were just like, no, he's not any good. Like, we're moving on in the first year. So, again, that shows that they're willing to do things that are hard and acknowledge mistakes and not just sit on guys for 3 years because they drafted him in the 4th round. And so I respect that about the Rams because I think the Rams are similar. They're trying to win a championship every year. And if guys aren't helping them do that, yeah, it's not a great look to have a free agent who you give a lot of money and either you cut him or he's not playing for you. But you also have to respect the fact that they're trying to put the best 53 dudes out
there. Eric, last 2 things. One, am I okay? So I was talking about it with Gilbert yesterday on the show, and I'm like, look, Mike, if I'm the 49ers, I am letting Brock Purdy walk. I am not paying that dude.
This is where we're going?
Yes. Hold on.
You're killing me today,
dude. Like, look at all the money that they put into, like, they have Bosa, they have Williams, they have Ayuk, they have Debo, they have Kittle, they have I don't know if they're paying Ward. They have Fred Warner.
Lenore.
They have the other Lemonier or whatever. Yeah. That's a lot of money. And then you're going to shell out $60 million for Brock Purdy. Like, I think the rebuild needs to commence.
They are rebuilding, starting with paying Purdy his check. And I think you're going to see them move on from guys like Debo, Kittle. To me, Trent Williams. Trent's 36, man. Like
you know what's funny? So I asked Daniel, "Would you want Kittle on the Chargers?" He goes, and then he sees a video on Instagram where Kittle told their reporter there, "Hey, congratulations, your Michigan Wolverines won after losing to the Bills." He's like, "Do you think that's what I want on my team?" He's like, somebody who just got blown out and is distracted congratulating somebody. I started laughing. I was like, no, but he can still play. He can still go.
I'll say this about the Purdy conversation. I think whenever you have a quarterback that plays as well as he does within that system, who's going to replace it? Are you just going to go back and sign Sam Darnold again and think you're going to get the same kind of production?
No, because Sam Darnold's now going to command a bunch of money.
But I don't think you're going to get the kind of production that you're getting from Purdy with Sam Darnold, even though the offense is a very quarterback friendly offense. And you develop Purdy. You know, why would you want to move on from somebody that you put all that time and resources in to get him where he's at now? As far as the quarterback, I mean, the money's the money. That's where we're at with the position, you know? So it's kind of like the running back position. They're not making as much. That's the market. So you can't really change that.
You're lucky I don't have a dime here, because I'd be like, go get Danny Dimes. Kyle Shanahan could work wonders. Paying Danny Dimes $30 and hey, you're lucky to be on this team and see what he can do with him. That's why I like McVay and I like Shanahan. I want to see what they can do with these mediocre quarterbacks, bring them in, and then shell them out and make them into something. Look at Baker Mayfield. He's doing great. Sam Darnold. That's quarterback rehab. By the way, Tyler Dragon stole that from me. I said it from the beginning. That is quarterback rehab. Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are quarterback rehab.
But they got to pay Baker. Like, eventually, if the guy's any good, you're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, but I mean, you can give it one more season. But see, that's why I'm saying, like, or you have to go basically the Justin Herbert route, where the rest of the team is going to have to disappear, and you're going to keep the quarterback, and everybody else is you're going to have to draft and get other guys and bring them in. That's kind of my. The
other thing is if you give him one more season, then you're going to have to pay him more later.
No. I'm saying like you give him his contract, but like you said, you start letting go of the pieces around him. Like when you're talking about Purdy, you pay Purdy, but then everybody else kind of has to start. Right.
So that's where I'm at. Like the Rams paid Stafford, and then they cut a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
And they got Young.
Yeah.
That's what the Niners need to do. They're going to have to pay Purdy, and then they're going to have to play a bunch of young dudes and coach him up.
But I think it's stupid when people are like, "Oh, well, Kyle Shanahan should be fired." Like, that to me is idiotic.
Yeah.
Why would you?
He's going to get picked up right away.
Somebody's going to fire their head coach right now, who nobody thinks is going to get fired, and they're going to hire Kyle Shanahan. Like, that to me is the idiotic part.
You know who would love it if Kyle Shanahan was fired? Sean McVay would love it. Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. I thought you were saying some of the
rest of the division.
The rest of the division would love it. That'd be a much easier team to beat if he's not coaching them.
No, I completely agree. But yeah, Eric, Sunday, have you made a decision yet on who you're picking?
Picking in between who?
The
Rams and the Bills.
Bills?
I think you know where I'm picking here.
Yes. He's got a bet to win.
Yeah, that's right. I think you know which way I'm leaning there, Fernando.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I got a lunch to collect on, so
that's true. That's true. Oh,
we need to handle the business.
I love these bets because I benefit, one, but two, it's just funny to see how all the how the trash talk that they do when we go out. But Eric, I know you got to go. You're a busy guy. You got a lot of things going on. We definitely appreciate you jumping on House of Horns. Don't forget, folks, at Eric_D_Williams. You can find him on Twitter. I got that one right?
Kinda. Eric_D_Williams. You got it there.
Okay.
You got it right at the end.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah. All right. Make sure you guys find him. He's always got great stuff on all things AFC and NFC West. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Eric, thank you so much for jumping on with us.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate y'all.